At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked #1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years and #2 among public universities for employability, ASU isn't just ahead of the curve, it's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online, that's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Having a life scholarship and being able to afford to go to college made me feel inspired to go.
When I got a life scholarship, it was such a relief.
I knew that I wanted to have an impact. Having a life scholarship through the SC Education Lottery was huge. It gave me the opportunity to make that impact right here at home.
The South Carolina Education Lottery. A better you, a better us, a better South Carolina. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Sports Card Nation, the hobby is the people. Weekly news and interviews, it's your #1 source. Sports Card Nation, the hobby is the people. Sports Card Nation.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 342 of Sports Card Nation. First off, let's thank those folks that make this show possible. Iron Sports Card, Rob Valenti does a great job with bulk subbing. Check them out. Sports Collectors Digest, one of the oldest hobby publications. I've been blessed to be able to write for them. They've been very supportive. Our featured sponsor for the week, Hobby Hotline, airing right now every first and third Saturday of the month at 11 a.m. Eastern with a plethora of different hosts, and Upper Deck, which allows us to open some product, review it, and then give away some product as well. So without those folks, make this show easier to do and even more fun than it already is. Speaking of fun, let's talk about today's guest. Part 2 of our conversation with my friend Victor Roman. We're going to talk about today the process of writing the book, Hobby Burnout, Hobby Overkill, share some personal insights and stories, and always fun to have Victor on, and just gives it to you straight the way it should be, and passionate, and loves the hobby like I do, probably like you do, and that's a big key, and always love having folks like that on. So part 2 of our conversation with Victor. If you missed part 1, it's very easy. Go back one episode and check that out. But let's not waste any more time and get Victor back on. So here we go. Here is the conclusion, or part 2 of our conversation with true rookie specialist and my friend Victor Roman. We're going to start out here talking about the process of writing a book. Now that you got a book under your belt, is there going to be, are you thinking about a part 2? Are you thinking about maybe a different book even, or different topic?
I would love to do a part 2 to this book. And the only reason why is because I was really cautious with this book as far as what I said, because I started pointing some things out from the Players Association, and I didn't want legal things coming at me. I didn't even include any images in this, not any like pro images, like actual cards, because I was speaking kind of harshly of the I don't want to say not the industry, but of the topic, and so I was really like, if I had a chance to do it again, I would do it again, and I would probably do a couple things differently, and we'll see what the future brings.
Yeah, I hope you do, and it'll be interesting to say the least. And you notice the landscape is changing from one day to the next, so another book can be warranted. Like you said, I think, I don't want to speak for you, but a second one might be easier now that you did it one. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like anything. You do it enough, you get better at it, or more comfortable in the very least. And, so I've got the green light from me. So
all right.
Let's talk about kind of what you collect. I know, from talking to you, you're doing a Clemente run. I'll put you on the spot. Like, how close or to completion are you there or not?
Yeah, I still need 5 cards for that Clemente run. A lot of my collecting has taken a back seat, more specifically because of the projects that I have, and that is with the projects that I had with the book, and then projects that I had here in my house, and then projects that I have to the need to sell sports cards. So it's one of them things where I guess the question is, what do you collect, but what are you currently collecting?
Yeah.
Because collections are always evolving for me,
Yeah.
anyways. But I've purged a lot of my collecting a lot of my cards that were in slabs, and so I'm currently purging some of those, selling them off on my eBay, and then I also have a collection of I'm a big PSA set registry guy.
Yeah.
So like all of the post-war rookie Hall of Fame, that's a big one that I'm really into. My favorite era of the 1980s, there's a set registry called the top 100 cards of the 1980s. That's another registry that I love. And there's a lot of I like rookie card runs for the set registry. I love those, so I have a ton of those. Like you name it, I have. Like Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, like all of them.
Terrible.
Yeah. What's that?
They said those guys are all terrible. Or as Charles Barkley would say, they're terrible. I'm kidding.
That was pretty good.
I had to find a reason to do a terrible Charles Barkley impression. So there it was.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, you're right. That's what I love, rookie cards.
Yeah.
Same. I love more bad jokes, right? I love rookie cards, and I cannot lie. So, yeah, you want to hear something crazy? I'm not going to lie. This is the first year I've been to the PSA registry party as guest. The first year I got my own invite personally. So I must have got enough cards on there finally.
There you go.
Move up so I don't have to weasel my way in this year. So
We'll sit. I got Logan going. I'm going.
Yeah, save me a seat.
We'll get you a seat. You know what else I like to collect, John? To be honest with you, and I don't like to be the old man on the lawn, but I like to collect ultra modern myself. Specific players. I typically like to prospect for future Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
So I love collecting, cards of Jose Ramirez or Manny Machado, Aaron Judge, and that sort of thing. And also like players that inspire me. I've here recently, I've started a Caitlin Clark collection, a Victor Wembanyama collection. Now,
just because his name's Victor?
Yeah. No, it's players that I see something in them. I see that eye of the tiger. Yeah. And that's what leads me to collect their cards. Now, here's the caveat with my ultra modern. It has to be base cards. I'm a base card, rookie card collector. All of the parallels and the fancies, you can have them. I'm good with the base rookie.
Yeah. And again, man, we sound like we're very similar, right? So again, I do the Hall of Fame graded card rookies, all 4 major sports. But I too will dabble with some of the current players, right? I'm a big Bobby Witt Jr. guy.
Good guy.
He's one of the best players. I was in on him early, but there really is no such thing now because we hear about these guys so early. You can't really take credit anymore for I knew about him before anyone else did, right? Because you really can't anymore. You used to be able to do that. Football, I'm a big football guy too. So Marvin Harrison Jr., Brock Bowers are guys I kind of PC when it comes to current. So as much as I like vintage and I'm heavy vintage, it's probably 70-30, 80-20. I still do because I'm a sports fan. I'm in fantasy leagues. I'm watching games. And I want, we still have that connection, right? While I love the vintage like you do, those careers are done, right? I still want some connection to something I'm currently watching. And like you said, what a player moves your meter, inspires you. They do some great things. And you're like, hey, I want to collect this person.
Yep.
I think that's the beauty of the hobbies, because we can pick and choose, who we want to collect. And then if we change our mind, we can just move and pivot in a different direction.
Yeah, and it's a good feeling when the player meets that expectation.
Yeah, it's like listen, let's be real. It's like buying a stock early, and it hits, right?
And it hits. It just brings a smile to your face when that.
Yeah, it's like it's almost a little like day trading, right?
Yeah.
And, so you mentioned selling some stuff. Is eBay like your main platform where you move some stuff, or where else might you move cards at?
Yeah, only eBay, or a local card show or something. I'll take stuff to trade or sell, but that's about it. I don't get too serious into it. I got so many irons in the fire. I can't really dedicate too much time to any one thing. I have to keep all the plates spinning. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's eBay's the main anyways, let's just say.
I'm in your card room. Like, how organized are you? If you say I have this card and I know right where it is, are you that streamlined?
I'm that guy. Yeah. I can take you right to any card. Yeah.
Well, that's good, because I think I'm pretty close. There might be some exceptions to the rule. It took me, what I used to do, Victor? Used to make my son mad. He used to help me at shows. He doesn't now, but I don't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I used to pack up, like when the show's over and I'm packing up my inventory to leave, I would pack up my cards in alphabetical, literally in A, B, C, D. And my son's like, Dad, just throw them in the box. Let's get out of here. Like, he wants to rob the bank in like 2 minutes and get and I'm like, no, this is good. And one of the reasons I did that, I don't do it any longer, but one of the reasons when I was doing that was just so it was easier to find a card. Let's say I sold it online and not at the show. I didn't have to look through 4 boxes. I knew exactly where it was. So I don't do that now, but I still do it in a way where I can find something should I need to if a sale is made outside the show and whatnot. But man, it used to be like the show's over. Even the promoters are like, dude, I want to go home, get out of here. Who I've known for 20 years. Like, they're like waiting for me because they can't lock the door. And so now I'm not the last guy. I used to be the last guy out. Now I've given up my belt and I'm not the last guy out. And I've changed some other things, how I use a rolling toolbox wherever. So a lot of my stuff I've streamlined. So it used to be like I used to have to make 4 trips into the show. Now it's two trips and everything's in. And so, you learn. I've learned in my own little tricks. And the other thing, the older I get, this it's a grind. And the less trips I make, the less wear and tear on me. And this pays off in the long run. But the sad part is, even though I tell my son, Victor, like, hey, I don't do it the old way anymore, he won't help me anymore. Just so burnt. He's so flustered from what he's like, no, you're on your own. So
he's retired.
Yeah, he will help me. He still lives at home. So when I come home with stuff, he'll be on the back deck as I hand stuff up, and he'll help bring it upstairs and that sort of thing. So he'll do that much, but he isn't coming to the show to help me there. But it's you live and learn and that sort of thing. So listen, I think it's happened to all of us at one point or another, right? I'm sure you've done content, or if you talked about it. I know I've done shows about it, right? Whether it's content creation or even just collecting or just being a hobbyist, right? That burnout, you hit a wall, or you're like, you know what? I don't even want to look at cards for a couple of days. I don't want to do content creation for a week. Whatever that break you need. Is that something that comes up with you and kind of speak to your, if it does, how you deal with it and how often it may or may not happen?
Yeah, I've learned this the hard way. I think, unfortunately, as many of us have to. But I've had episodes of burnout. Early in my 40s, I was a manager at my job, and I was in charge of 80 people and about $250 million worth of equipment I was in charge of. And I had my plate full, man. And I was coming home. I had 5 kids, married, raising 5 kids. And then I had other extracurricular activities that I was doing, and I found myself burned out. And when I came back to the hobby, I had learned some lessons that I wanted to do with my content creation, and that was only committing to one piece of content a week. And I've gone away from that, and I was doing 2 or 3 videos a week, and I found myself quickly feeling that burnout, the tingling of my spidey senses per se, telling me that I'm overdoing it. And so I learned to listen to those little warning signs sooner rather than later. And I found a real healthy groove when I'm doing videos once a week. And I know that doesn't help my cause. It probably hurts my cause. But I have a lot more to live for than just making content.
Yes.
I don't want to be a slave to the algorithm per se. I'm a husband first, and I'm a son second, and I'm a friend third, and I have responsibilities at work, and all of those things come before cards and before content. But I can't say that I've come to this place the hard way.
Yeah. Yeah, we all have, but you got your priorities in the right order, Vic.
Time for a quick break, but we'll be right back.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Hobby Hotline is the hobby's only live interactive call-in show. Join some of your favorite hobby personalities every Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, to discuss the hottest hobby topics. If you miss us live, catch us after the fact on all major podcast platforms. Follow us on socials at Hobby Hotline.
Thanks for sticking with us. Let's return to the show.
I told you before we recorded, I sat down and I said, I thought to myself, what percentage of the week, what percentage of my life am I spending in hobby related stuff? And that's not just content, but even cards, shows, getting ready for the shows, going on eBay and doing searches and buying stuff, selling. And I recently did it. And again, it's a guesstimation. It's not an exact science. It's not like I have a chess clock and I'm hitting it when I'm doing hobby stuff. It's just a rough guesstimate estimate. And it's 8, I told this to someone that is also in the hobby who knows me very well. And I said, I asked them, how much time do you think of my life I spend in the hobby? And their guess was 30%. And I'm like, you're actually not really that close. And they're like, what is it, Newman? And I'm like, 8%. And I actually didn't no way. Were you doing 2 shows a month and the content you create? And I said, no, I sat down. Again, it's not an exact science.
Right.
It could be 9%, it could be 7%, maybe 10%, but it's pretty close to that area. And they were shocked that it was only 8%. And I like it there. And it wasn't, I told you this before it wasn't always 8%. There was probably a time, maybe that number was 30%, like my friend guessed. And that was, for me, that wasn't healthy. Actually, it was unhealthy. I had, like you, I'm in teaching now as a teaching assistant. But the job I had before I got into teaching 4 years ago, I was a orientation facilitator for a trucking company. And my days were 6 a.m. start to 6 p.m. I'd come home, wash up, eat dinner, and I was doing the show. This podcast existed then, and I just became a zombie. And I talked about it on this podcast, Victor. Between the episodes of like 40 and 60 of this show, I was getting consumed by everything, to the point like I came down. I'm upstairs, and this is the studio office. I came down one day, and my wife said to me, "Hi, my name is Sharon. What's your name?" Like half joking, but obviously trying to, the point being set. And I'm like, she goes, you like the last 2 months, like I've barely seen you. You're upstairs, you come home from work, you eat dinner, and then I don't see you till it's bedtime. And I gotta be honest with you, I didn't even realize. Like, it's sad to say, I'm honest. I'm not proud of it. I didn't realize it until it's like intervention, right? Sometimes someone else has to tell you, like, hey, dude, something's going on. Like, you don't even, when you're in it, you're caught up in it, you don't even realize it till someone like hits you with something like that. And that light bulb went on. That like hit me like a ton of bricks. And then I just made a point. I felt bad. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even realize it. I didn't feel bad, but then when I heard that, I felt terrible because I'm not that guy. But I was that guy. But I didn't want to be that guy. But I didn't realize I was being that guy. So I changed some things. I set a schedule. I set some limits, and since then everything's been better. But had my wife not made sort of a backhanded, funny send a message that way, like, hey, who are you in my house? Maybe I would have continued down that path. I think the longer you do something, the harder it is to get out of that rut, if you will.
You displayed a lot of wisdom there, John. And when I look at it and think about how many content creators has entered the sports card space in the last 5 to 7 years, many come in, but they don't last very long, and it very possibly could be just that balance. There's the priorities are out of order, things become stressful, and they just quit making content. And so man, you got to be, you've got to be. I don't know how some guys do it, to be honest with you, but I think the key to longevity is balance, and finding that balance that works best for you.
And I got to be honest with you. Let's say my wife didn't do that, and maybe I continue. Like, I enjoyed doing the content. I don't want to be disingenuous, but I think I enjoy it more the way I do it now because I'm not doing as much. And so, sometimes absence makes the heart grow fonder. If you're doing something all the time, I don't even care what it is. It could be something you love. Like, I love pizza and wings, but if I ate it every day, right? Number one, I'd look even worse than I do now. But number two, right? You wouldn't appreciate it more or as much as you get sick of it, right? And looking back at that sort of time of the show, like I guess I didn't really enjoy it as much as I thought I did in the moment. Like, it was like, hey, I got to get more guests. Who's the next guest? I got to chase. It was a little harder getting guests at that point in the show than it is, let's say, today. So it's more enjoyable today than it was during that small period of time. And I'm glad my wife, in the way she did it, she wasn't rude. She did it. The message got sent. I saw the light and made some changes, and for everyone's benefit, including my own. And like you said, your husband, a father, an employee, a friend, all those things, whatever. But there's an order to that. There's, when people say, in no particular order. Well, with priorities, there is a particular order. You can't say in no particular order. So I was sort of, I don't want to say completely losing the order, but I was going down that path, let's say,
And really, like, you weren't doing anything wrong per se. When you look at it, you weren't like,
it wasn't malicious.
Right.
It wasn't me saying, hey, I don't want to spend time with my wife. I'm just going to hide up here.
But too much of anything can become bad. And it's one of them things where, had you didn't have that epiphany moment with your wife, it could have affected your marital relationship, man. And that's how serious.
I think it would have. I think that's why she said it, Victor.
Yeah, she was there, man. She was like, hey.
I think she was like, if I don't say something now, this is just going to continue and get worse. And then I'm going to get maybe even more mad or resentful. And then I won't even care. And then we'll grow apart, blah, blah, blah.
Man, Thank God you found.
Listen, I told the story. I'm not going to retell the story here. But I had a dealer acquaintance of mine that I set up with who was doing shows. I would do 1 or 2 a month. He was doing shows every weekend, and he was missing kids' recitals, kids' little league games. He had a daughter and a son, And he was telling me, like, yeah, my wife's at this. And I'm like, you're missing that? He's like, yeah, I'm doing I'm here at the show. And I'm like, man, you better be careful. And I told him, you better be careful. And he would say, my wife's peeved at me, or I'm in the doghouse. And then, he got served papers. He's divorced and ruined,
Yeah.
and he chose, I mean, I hate to say it like this, but he chose cards over his family.
Wow.
Maybe it's not as simple as that, but in a sense, that's kind of what happened. And you can't get that back. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. You
Right.
can't go to an event that you missed it already and redo it. There's no DeLorean and time machine.
Yep.
And then your kids resent you, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my dad was never at any of my games. My dad didn't come to my dance recitals, and then now you got to repair that. And even in repairing it, right? Is it ever going to be, great? Probably not, and there's going to be some sort of resentment. So, and I tried that, I'm like, hey man, like take a week off and do stuff with your family. He's like, I love it. I love this stuff. And I'm like, listen, I love this stuff too. We're in the same team, but like you're getting to that point where the scales get.
And right there, John, I like to call those a telltale sign.
Yeah. But it's an addiction. Like I tell people, like hobby can be addicting in a good way and a bad way.
In a bad way. One trigger for me that I start to recognize that I need to unplug is like when I'm listening to other content creators on sports cards, and just like I feel irritated about everything that I'm hearing.
Yeah.
You know how sometimes we can get a topic and regurgitate it, and everybody starts talking about it, and it has undertones of negativity.
Yeah.
And it's just you're consuming too much of it, and it just starts getting under my skin. And that's a telltale sign for me that I need to back off and just, at least for a day or two and back off. I need a break.
Yeah. And you do this long enough, like you just said, Victor, when those times are. And when those times come, you got to just do that. You got to pause.
That's the key.
Pause. You got to hit eject and eject out of the plane, pull your parachute, and take off on another day on the plane again.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that. Better to do that than to hang in there too long and crash, though. No doubt. Well, we'll kind of close with this as we wind down. I will close on a positive note rather than burnout. We're approaching the National here. It's in your backyard of Chicago. It's going to be there not only this year, but the next 2 years for sure. I'm sure if you had your druthers, and I don't blame you, I'd want it, if I was that close, I'd want it there every year. For you, obviously, we all know what the National is. We all get together. We have dinners. Might be events outside the show. We talked about the PSA registry party as one of those. There's others. We circle the calendar on the week every week. It's pretty much the same week every year. But even more, is it something where you say, like, I really need to try to be there every year, or not necessarily for you?
I would say about 2017 or 2018. It's like I made the decision that I want to be there every year. And I have. My first one was like 1998. And then I had some scattered in there. But ever since 2017, I've been like, I got to go every year. And I'm 50 minutes away from the convention center in good traffic. So I've had the privilege of having a majority of the Nationals right here in my own backyard. But I do know I've traveled also, and I do plan on traveling to Detroit or Atlanta. I'm hoping Detroit, but
wow, is it closer?
It is, and I know you want Atlanta.
You know what? I haven't really sat down and figured it out which one's closer. I think it might be very similar. I haven't even thought that far. Excuse me. I'm gonna have to fly probably to either or. So I'm one. Listen, I'm in Syracuse, so it's never coming here. New York City doesn't seem to be doable, although we see the Fanatics Fest, which is a different type of event. That would be my first choice because it's my hometown. I do have some family still there. I'm not expecting that. It ain't coming to Syracuse, so we can cross that one off the list. I like Atlantic City and Cleveland. I know most don't. Let's be full transparency. I like both of those venues because I can drive to them in my car. Selfish, it is what it is. The same reason like you like Chicago. Nothing wrong with that. That's just common human nature, common sense. But other than that, I'm thinking, man, if I lived in California or Oregon or Washington State, I'd like to see it come out this way a little bit closer to me. So I try to be the fairness guy as much as I can. So I'd like to see that sort of move around the country. What I don't want to see, Victor, is what I've heard at different points, like, hey, there's going to be 2 nationals now. It's been a rumor, whispered. I don't think it's going to happen, or at least not right away. But I think if they ever did 2 nationals, the bloom would sort of come off the rose. Because I can't do both, at least speaking for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to be like, which one am I picking, right? And then I've heard other things. I'm sure you've heard all the same stuff. Oh, there's going to be 2 nationals. One's going to be a vintage heavy national, and one's going to be a more modern day dealer national. And we both just talked about a little while back, we collect both of those. So now, like, what if I want to just go to one show, but they're both those niches won't be represented in the same fashion? So again, I'm old school. I want one national, right? We have one Super Bowl every year. We got one World Series, one NBA Finals. When we have a World Cup every 4 years, it's every 4 years. It's not 2 in 1 year. So I don't want to see 2. I've heard talk of that. It doesn't look like, at least for the next 3 or 4 years, that's going to you just kind of your thoughts on there. And I'm sure you've heard some of that stuff.
Yeah, I know. I heard that Amazon bought the convention center in Cleveland. I didn't fact check that, but I think I heard that recently. So I don't think it's ever going to be at Cleveland again. But I would love to go see the one in Detroit. I haven't been to Detroit in a really long time. I haven't been to Detroit since I was a kid, to be honest with you. And I would like to check that out. But yeah, I like it moving around myself, to be honest with you. I like traveling to the show. It's part of the fun, man.
Yeah, and I know with Chicago, it is right pretty much almost dead center. Like, I wouldn't even be opposed, like, hey, Chicago, then another city, then back to Chicago, like Chicago every other year type of deal, and then every other year another venue as well. I think that would be a fair compromise as well. So so you're saying that's going to be the convention center Cleveland's going to be an Amazon warehouse?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, that's a big warehouse.
Yeah,
there's a lot of product that'll fit in that building. Yeah. But listen, as we both know, right? The National, the greatest week in the hobby, as I always say. It's fun. We get to meet people for the first time. We get to meet people again. We get to buy some cards. And there's not a whole lot of bad things. If you have a bad National, I'd ask you, like, what happened? You know what I mean?
Right.
What was it that caused? I've gotten better. I always try to pick up 2, 3, 4. I call them bigger type cards. Everyone's definition of bigger cards different depending on budget. For me, bigger's 4 figures. Sometimes I the first few years of me going to National, I was struggling early and having to, like, last minute pick up a couple. The last year or 2, I did a better job at, like, kind of finding that stuff early, and like that, pressure, if the pressure you put on yourself, kind of relieve that pressure. So I'll have a list this year of, I kind of go in a list, me personally, 3 to 5 cards and try to get 2 to 3 of them. I'm not going to get all 5. And obviously, this, you buy other stuff not on your list at a little lesser value. But when I say bigger cards, I'll go in with a list of 3 or 5 with the goal of trying to get 2 to 3 off that list. Done a better job the last couple of years than the previous 3 to 4. So hopefully keep that trend going. But as always, looking forward to seeing you and others, and having fun and dinners and laughing and doing bad impressions and jokes and all that stuff that comes. So, Victor, as always, this is always a blast. I always give the guests kind of the final word. Give out your socials. Also plug your book where people can pick that up before part 2 comes out.
Yeah, thanks, John. You can find my book on Amazon, True Rookie Cards, and you can find me on YouTube or any social media platform for that matter at True_RCS. And we are basically looking at the rookie card, looking at its past and present day status, all in an effort to better understand the future of this hobby icon that is the rookie card. It is chaotic, it is complex, but it is beautiful, and it is a primary pillar of our hobby.
No doubt, well said. And if you Google rookie, I think Mickey Mantle comes up first, and then Victor Roman.
There you go.
Comes up second.
I'm
pretty sure that's how it worked. So, Victor, always a pleasure. Thanks for making some time.
Thank you, John. Thanks for having me.
Hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. And, when I talk to Victor, sometimes I forget that we're even doing a podcast, right? It's just two people who know each other fairly well, talking about life, the hobby, and that sort of thing. Always fun to have him on. Check out his book. This is a guy, it's a subject that's important. It's a subject that he's very passionate about, and he put that into this book. And check it out. And if you're any kind of hobbyist, if you love rookie cards like I do, and most people do, check that book out. Maybe there'll be, like Victor said, maybe you see a part 2 down the line here.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Time for our Hobby is the People Announcer of the Week.
Hey, it's Chris Carlin, formerly from Upper Deck, now with Collectors. Remember, the hobby is the people.
If you'd like to be the Hobby is the People Announcer of the Week, do a WAV or MP3 file and send it to sportscardnationpc@gmail.com.
Having a life scholarship and being able to afford to go to college made me feel inspired to go.
When I got a life scholarship, it was such a relief.
I knew that I wanted to have an impact. Having a life scholarship through the SC Education Lottery was huge. It gave me the opportunity to make that impact right here at home.
The South Carolina Education Lottery. A better you, a better us, a better South Carolina. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No